Before Warcraft, before Source Code, before Moon, director Duncan Jones was working on a script for a film called Mute. Jones has had his story of a near-future Berlin and the troubles of a voiceless Amish bartender in his head for 15 years, and now it's finally coming out. I was lucky enough to visit the movie's chilly Berlin set and talk to the man himself. Here's 6 things that I learned about the movie along the way. The film is named after Alexander Skarsgård's protagonist, Leo Byler, who lost his voice following an accident, but seems to hinge more on why he hasn't had it fixed than on how the accident actually happened. This is a world with the technology to easily fix his vocal cords, but he chooses not to. The problem for Jones is that a voiceless lead character makes storytelling difficult. His solution is apparently to make only half the film about Leo. Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux's fast-talking backstreet surgeons, Cactus and Duck, are on hand to balance out the strong silent type. It may be said in the future, but Jones seems more interested in real people than speculative fiction. He's consistently described the plot as a Sci-Fi Casablanca, a film about the small human stories amidst global changes. Justin Theroux says the story could equally be set in New York in 1985, for example, and that it doesn't draw much attention to the technological aspects. The technology that is shown seems mostly to accentuate Leo's otherness. Jones says in a world full of technology, to have a Luddite at the centre of it sets up an interesting conflict. What's most obvious when you enter the freezing Berlin warehouse Mute's being filmed inside is how much there is going on here. Modern sci-fi production is synonymous with green screen work, but Mute's sets seem very practical. From Leo's cluttered apartment to Foreign Dreams, the sleek futuristic nightclub he works in, most areas look like they could be put to film without any digital assistance. Even futuristic computer interfaces are a practical effect, and at one point I see the looping video playing on one screen crash to a computer desktop, which is running Windows XP. Even the computers are harking back to the past here. Mute's been described as a spiritual sequel to Jones's 2009 feature debut, Moon, except it seems a lot more substantial than spiritual. Looking around an operating theatre set, I spot a piece of equipment emblazoned with the logo for Lunar Energy, which looks strikingly similar to that of Lunar Industries, the company at the centre of Moon's mystery. The references will be even more overt than that, it seems. And if you haven't watched Moon, I suggest you skip 10 seconds or so, as this is a bit of a spoiler. Jones himself tells me that the discovery of Moon's clones will be shown as part of the news cycle in the backgrounds of otherwise unconnected scenes in Mute. There's a world-famous court case going on at The Hague, he explains, where all the Sam Bells from Moon are trying to argue for their human rights. This Free the 156 movement, as it's dubbed in the movie, won't be a major part of Leo's story, but it's a thread in the fabric of this universe. Jones began sketching out ideas for Mute almost 15 years ago, and he says that it's exhausting and cathartic to actually be making it after all that time. But it's clear he's putting more of himself into the film than simply the story. Walking around the set of Leo's apartment, I notice an image of the character's ancestors, one of which very clearly features Jones with an Amish chin-strap beard. More touchingly, Leo has a record sleeve lying on a table, Philip Glass's Symphony No. 4, Heroes. That record reimagines the work David Bowie, Jones's late father, created while he was living in Berlin. In Mute's future, the EU appears to have broken down, demonstrated best by Germany reinstating the Deutschmark, but the old currency returned with some new style. On the set tour, I spotted bundles of Deutschmark notes bearing some unexpected faces. I might have guessed Beethoven, Merkel and Marx, but I wouldn't necessarily have expected Claudia Schiffer or David Hasselhoff to make the cut. If you're interested in more things Duncan Jones, why not check out our Warcraft review or our interview with Jones himself about turning Warcraft the game into a movie.